So I had a recent request to do a bit of a breakdown as to what I carry in my toolbox when I'm wheeling and camping out of it. So before I get going too far into this, I want to throw out a quick disclaimer. It's a pretty stock truck and it's independent front suspension and all that. So I'm not wheeling crazy hard trails. So this is a little more specific to easy to mild off-roading, but I'll kind of break this into two parts, and at the end I'll talk about what I'm going to add once the truck gets to a point in the build where I'm taking it on harder trails. So we'll start with the easy stuff and then move on to the harder wheeling and what I bring for that. Okay. All right, so we'll start with some recovery and off-roading gear, and then I'll talk about the tools and other things I carry in my toolbox, but it's mostly equipment for off-roading. So So first bag of goodies here, I've got a tree trunk protector. So that's just a nice, this is old. I think I got these off my grandfather when he was cleaning out his Jeep to get rid of it. So a tree trunk protector, a tow strap, a second tow strap, and then I've got this, this is one of those trailer hitch receivers. I don't yet have a rear bumper, so I picked this up so that I'd have a rear recovery point, and I've got the front ones on the bumper of the truck. This one's an Agency 6, so it's like billet aluminum, and I got it for a bit of a discount because they had their like blemished products that, you know, the anodizing is scuffed or whatever. So that's good to have, and then we'll move on to the next bag. Bag number 2, got 4 hard shackles, and I got 2 soft shackles. This guy is for wrapping around like an axle or a control arm, and then you got points to clip onto. So use that recovering one of the like stock vehicles we pulled out of snowbanks. And then a winch ring. So that's pretty basic in terms, well, I don't know, I've got probably more than I need for a simple recovery, but it's a pretty good kit. I haven't needed anything else. Okay. So, in addition to all that, we've got a kinetic recovery rope. This one, I think I picked it up at Murdoch's, so it's, I mean, I'm sure it's the same thing as a lot of the name brand stuff, but we've used it a few times. It works really well. I would highly recommend at least one of these in everyone's off-road kit. And then I went to Harbor Freight and picked up one of these for the winch lines. So it's a cable damper. So if the winch line snaps, this will weigh it down, and it hopefully won't chuck the line or any bits of metal at anyone. So that's that. And this guy goes in the toolbox as well. This is to go with a high lift jack. So you can put the foot of the jack in there, or the little lifting arm, and then you can clip that. You can hook this around wheel spokes and lift a car up by the wheels, by a wheel. I haven't used this one yet, but it's kind of a nice accessory to have with the high lift, and that just lives in the toolbox. I suppose this is a good time to mention as well, I do have a high lift jack, a shovel, and 4 max tracks. Shovel and high lift are mounted in the bed of the truck, and the max tracks are mounted on the roof. I'm sure you guys have seen those in other videos on my channel here. So I've also got in the toolbox, they sit kind of right up against the front. They sit like that. And they sit kind of against the front of the toolbox like this. Fuel and water, totally self-explanatory. The Dakota has like a 22 or 24 gallon fuel tank, so it's usually not a big concern about running out of fuel, but in case I ever do, or in case someone we're wheeling with runs out of fuel, I usually have 5 or 3.5.
3.5.
3.5 gallons with me, which is enough to, you know, hopefully get down the trailhead and find some gas. And then water, just for camping, bring some clean water because I'm not always positive that we're going to find that there. And I did buy a spigot off of some eShop somewhere, I can't remember. Just so that we can kind of just put it up on the tailgate and fill water bottles or whatever. Makes it a little bit more manageable than, you know, trying to pour. And then this is kind of to complement the roof tent. This is just a set of 10 of these RV leveling blocks. So I prefer to use these when we're camping to level out a corner or a side of the truck so that the roof tent sits level. And they're kind of, if I get really, really stuck somewhere or have to fill in a hole to drive over, like we could use them as sort of mini recovery, you know, mini max tracks if we needed to, but they're mainly for the tent. And then this is kind of the last piece of off-road equipment that I'm carrying currently. It's just a big air compressor. This one, flow rate on this one's a little over 10 cubic feet per minute. So it's pretty fast. It's faster than my friend's ARBs and all the other little ones they've got. This one I did pick up at Napa when I worked there, although I think they only had this for like a summer. I have seen it online under a couple different brand names. I'm pretty sure they all come out of the same factory in China probably, and they just put different logos on them. But despite my reservations about it, I guess, I wasn't super confident in it because it was so cheap, but for a little over $100 I've used this thing a ton and it just keeps going. So that's that. All right, moving on to tools. I got everything in a tool roll recently, so this one's nice. I get labeled pockets, you know, sockets, wrenches, pliers, miscellaneous, and specialty. So this is just kind of I need to get some socket strips for these, but that's just a Harbor Freight socket set. It's got a whole bunch of stuff, metric and SAE, from really, really small up to 19 or 3/4. So that's pretty complete. Like I said, I just need a socket set to kind of, or a set of strips to organize that a little nicer. This one, I've got all the little wrenches that came with it. I've got a small adjustable, and I've got this guy that was just kind of floating around my toolbox. 3/4, 7/8. In this one, I've got pliers. I got a small vice grip. And I've got wire cutters, needle nose, some broad nose ones, and then all the extra screwdrivers I had in my toolbox. Miscellaneous tools, I got a small hammer, a larger adjustable, tape measure, and then specialty, I got a tarp. That is useful if I do break something or have to lay under the truck and diagnose. I can throw this out and not get super muddy or dusty or dirty or whatever. And then I got a couple sets of Allen keys in metric and standard, and some bits. All right, so most of the stuff in here is out of one of those Harbor Freight, like, I don't know, 60 or 90 piece or whatever sets, the black blow molded case, you know. Most of it's out of that. Oh, I do have some stuff. So I got a good flashlight and a marker. So a couple of things there. Like I said, most of that is out of a Harbor Freight tool set, and I've supplemented it where I feel like there's gaps. In addition to, so here's what can't fit in the tool roll. Big zip ties. These are very useful. The last couple times I've broken something on the trail, big zip ties were what got me home. I pulled apart a CV axle, CV joint twice on 2 different trails, and both times I just zip tied the intermediate shaft out of the way of everything important and drove home on it. That is not the correct way to do it, but that's what got me home. And then pry bar, never know, comes in handy. Got a hatchet. This one, so our Jeep Club requires, part of the required equipment that we wheel with is an axe. This might be, getting by on a technicality because it's kind of small, but I also have a chainsaw that I sometimes bring, so I'm I'm gonna argue for it on that one. And then my picks. These are, never know. And a bigger adjustable wrench. And some bigger screwdrivers. These, buy some nice thick stout ones, and they make good pry bars as well. So you never know when you need those. And then I went and picked up, this is another Harbor Freight special, but it's a breaker bar, but it's ratcheting, so you can flip it either way, or you can set it to, it's a little picky, but you can set it to neither. So that is if I ever need to pull my lug nuts off, replace a tire, that's what that's for. So that's everything in the tool. All right, so now we're kind of on to the more miscellaneous stuff that I just have in my toolbox at all times. Road flares, 3-pack. Could probably benefit from a second 3-pack, but we've also got the LED powered ones in her car. Those are, I think it's good to have both. These are great if maybe the battery one's died and I haven't recharged them in a while, or whatever, start a fire with them, that kind of thing. So those, and I need to get some of the LED ones for the truck as well. And I've got 8 straps in here. So these are the they're just cheap ratchet straps, but those are just useful to have kind of all the time. Hauling loads of firewood or furniture or whatever, I have used these a ton. I've actually used it to secure that project, but we'll make an intro video for that later. My trailer hitch lives in my toolbox. I really don't tow that often, and I really don't want to leave it in. This truck is long enough already, so that stays in the toolbox. Another tarp. This one's a little bigger, heavier duty, but kind of same deal. It's nice to have if I'm moving something and it starts raining, or if I need to get under the truck and I don't want to get filthy. And then I have a couple mostly clean shop rags, just in case. And this is where it gets kind of messy. So I've got a big wad of rope, paracord, small rope, whatever. If I have to secure anything, I have that. And I have a big wad of bungee cords. That I need to get another Tupperware for a lot of this. But again, kind of just nice to have always in there. Jumper cables, self-explanatory. Everyone should have jumper cables in their car. That's all there is to it, And a roll of shop towels. Because I think the first time I broke stuff, I got all greasy trying to set it so it wouldn't break anything else, and didn't have those in there. And I found a random carabiner in there, so I guess I have that. All right, can't believe I almost forgot this, but we're in the truck, right? Got my center console here, the one I built, and I needed some extra space out of it, and I didn't want to. Anyways, center console. I keep some stuff in here that isn't really well suited to being in the toolbox back there. So, first thing, I've got my winch controller in here. I just find it a little easier access in here versus buried somewhere in the toolbox. I keep an extra microfiber set of binoculars. They're kind of cheapies, but you use them sometimes going up, wheeling, looking at pretty places. I got about a half a dozen of these just little water bottles. They're kind of nice for, oh, we're leaving on a trip early and we forgot water. Ice scraper, of course, just kind of lives in the back seat. Quality first aid kit. Can't stress that enough. Get yourself a good one, and hopefully you never have to use it, but if you do, and most of y'all could probably get away with something smaller than this, but my girlfriend there is in the healthcare industry, so it's not so much what am I equipped to use, it's let's carry stuff she's equipped to use, so hence big one. I've got, this is a little this is not working. There we go. Okay. This is a jump pack.
just I've used it occasionally. It's kind of just one of those redundancies for redundancy. I've got one of these little folding camp trowels that's kind of nice, and then I've got my tire plug kit. This one definitely good to have because my spare tire does not match the other tires. So that's your tire plugs, and it comes with extra valve stems and everything. This is another really great thing to carry around. And then, we went over that already. I got more flares in here, and I've got this little pouch. I've got the radios, or the battery packs in here to turn my CB radio, slap the battery pack and the antenna on, and that turns it into a handheld. I can jump out and spot somebody up a tricky section. I got my tire gauge in there, and these guys, I got my they're tire deflators. So there's a spring setup in here, and you just thread them onto your valve stems. You got to do a little playing around with them beforehand. Like a bike tire is easy, but you can set them to different PSIs. So I have these set to 15 PSI, and when I hit the trailhead, I just thread these onto the tire stem and just wait. I don't have to sit there with a gauge. These they'll air down to around 15 PSI, and I'm good to go. I can even drive a little bit with them on, so I can screw them on and start rolling. But I keep those in there as well, because they're kind of small and they're easier to keep track of here. So that, and then just it's a mess in here right now, but some electrical tape and some hand sanitizer kind of just lives in the cup holder up here. So that is actually everything.
So that's what I carry. I would not consider that complete. There's a few other things that I would say I should have. My philosophy towards hard wheeling is I would try to avoid carrying big heavy spares. I don't really want to be carrying a whole second drive shaft around. You know what I mean? So I would gravitate towards kind of carrying the light stuff. But like I said, I haven't done a lot of that wheeling yet. I haven't gotten my rig into any of those situations. So this is kind of purely theoretical, and I will leave it at that.